Okay, so this is the second question, and there are 6 plus 4 plus 2 marks for this, so that's 12 marks. That gives me about 21 minutes to answer this question. So it is now 17:50 by my clock, so I shall give myself 21 minutes to answer this question. Starting from now. You have been seconded to help the chief actuary in a large insurance company writing multiple classes of business, both commercial and personal lines. The chief actuary has just read a report stating that global warming may turn out to be more serious than previously thought. He wants you to write a report setting out the different issues that the company might face. Giving reference to a wide number of classes of business, outline some of the different risks that the business might face in the light of this report, 6 marks. Suggest strategies that you might adopt to mitigate against these risks, 4 marks. Suggest and explain if there are some new business opportunities arising from this new information. Okay, so for the first part, 6 marks. I'm going to try and get 12 issues down, or perhaps a fewer number, but big issues. So first of all, I'm going to set out why this matters. So global warming is important because it causes a number of features which impact insurance companies. Increases the likelihood of extreme weather events such as hurricanes. It tends to cause sea level rises, which can affect coastal areas, and it may cause changes in animal behavior which could have an impact on agriculture, such as different pests having different amounts of survival success. So now going back and thinking, what are the points I'm making here? Hurricanes are very important to a major insurer with exposure to the USA, as they tend to hit eastern USA hard, and in a prosperous, well insured part of the world like this is very expensive for the company. We are also likely to get more typhoons in the Asian region, but this is less significant as there is less insurance coverage. But all types of policies, from household damage to I'll put household buildings, to car insurance, to commercial property, are seriously affected by this. There may also be many fixed loss claims due to personal injuries. There may also be more liability claims if, for example, our clients get sued if their buildings cause injury to the occupants. State clients may also need to pay out on claims for liar if they are seen as negligent from not offering sufficient warnings. Try and tidy up the typing. Obviously you're not going to have time to do this in the exam. Okay, so we've got a few decent points down there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now let's look at other areas where we might be hit by this. So we've looked there at the sort of hurricanes, which is one of the major issues, but also there is sea level rises may make coastal areas very vulnerable, and if we have sold trations of policies in these areas, we will be very exposed. This will be more of a problem with household buildings than other forms of insurance, as people can generally move the contents away, but business property will also be hit by this. And I'm going to add in, it's not just we've got more likely to hit properties on floodplains as well. This is a similar point, but I might not get an extra mark for that, but it's a similar point. There are now second order effects where the government may require companies to offer insurance to affected areas where perhaps we would not want to. So I'm building up a good range of points. Now just think back now to the notes, and we've got financial loss. So let's think what that might be. So can we squeeze a point in there? So there may be claims for business interruption, as well as general damage claims. There disputes over how much different aspects of incidents are down to global or down to weather, say, and how much are down to, say, council negligence. Then our clients may need to claim for legal expenses. So we've crowbarred a legal expenses issue in there. This one about second order effects, where the government may require companies to offer insurance affected. That's sort of getting a legislation point in, but it is relevant as that is now a political topic in Britain, where some areas insurance companies don't want to insure at all. So we spent about 10 minutes on the first part there, and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14-15 I think points. I'm not going to spend too long counting them because the clock's ticking obviously. So let's go on to point B. We've got 4 marks for this, and it suggests strategies that you might adopt to mitigate against these risks. Well, obviously reinsurance is the single biggest way of mitigating the risk. Now, and I'm actually going to go into separate points now here, so we're probably going to look at a number of types. So we could try stop loss reinsurance will be expensive and to obtain, but it is the ultimate guarantee of capping losses for an insurance period. We will also get some value from aggregate excessive loss, as this covers risk of a large number of total claims in a period of time. Risk XL is probably less relevant as we are less looking at large individual claims, unless it's something like an oil rig which is damaged by storms, for example. The other area of excess, we're going to come on to this in due time in the course, obviously, catastrophe excess is probably a major area we should look at. Now I'm going to make a slightly, as this will cover each individual event. Global warming tends to manifest itself in numbers of large events. What I'm also going to make the point about reinsurance, if our company is ahead of the reinsurance companies in working this out, then their premiums may lag behind the real cost of writing this, and so we may get a good deal, but the reinsurance companies are typically the most expert people, so that's probably not going to be the case, although they will probably be making the same predictions and pricing this in. So now what else can I do? Well, other things I can do is we can also change our policy offerings, so we cap cover at certain levels. Obviously that's going to mean we write less business, which does mean we like deal. Other things we can do is we can improve our underwriting so that we charge appropriate premiums for floodplains of rivers, for example. another thing we could do is we could simply stop offering insurance to certain parts of the country or certain parts of the world. We could also try and manage down our claims experience by tightening up on the terms and conditions, so that, for example, we did not cover contents in a hurricane as we would expect the property owners to have removed contents for the storm. And other things we can do is we can make underwriting conditions dependent on certain building materials, so that we actually encourage safer building practices. This is going to be especially important if insurance business spreads to parts of the world where building practices are less advanced. Okay, so I've got plenty of points there, lots of things we can do. Reinsurance is a major area, but it's certainly not the only area. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Again, 4 marks, and I've got 10 points down there. So plenty of marks, plenty of points there for the marks. I've got about 4 minutes left to answer this question, and I've got 2 marks available for suggest and explain if there are some new business opportunities arising from this new information. Well, we've already done one, so I'll just remind you of that. As above, we may be ahead of the reinsurance companies in pricing this risk. We may also be able to get out of uncompetitive areas of risk before other companies do, and avoid taking the losses that they will take. Now, a big point is the uncertainty that comes with climate change is what creates the need for insurance in the first place. If we didn't have uncertainty in the future, we wouldn't have an insurance business at all. So that's a really important point to make, that that this, we should see this as an opportunity. People should want to buy more insurance in the future. They are more uncertain. Other random points we can make. There may be some things that, for example, if global warming happens more, additional trade routes may emerge over the North Pole. So if the North Pole melts, then additional shipping routes may emerge, and so we may be able to offer additional marine shipping insurance. I haven't mentioned in earlier parts of the question that obviously in increased uncertainty with the weather that that shipping becomes more dangerous, but obviously that is another issue. We could mention it in this part of the question, and there's nothing wrong with going back into previous parts of the question, and so we could add in here additional extreme weather events can add to risk for shipping and aviation. So the North Pole melts, an additional shipping and so we may be able to offer additional marine shipping insurance. So we've got 4 points in here. This point I have put in above, but so I'm probably not getting the mark twice, but I want to get it in here because it's probably a main issue. So we've got the major points that we can get out of uncompetitive areas before other companies. The uncertainty means we've got extra demand, and we could, related to this point about extra demand, we could say that it should push premiums up as well. And also I'll say that new industries are likely to start up, such as industries, and these will all need to get insurance against various risks that they run. Okay, so that's about 21 minutes. I think that's about the time for that question. So I'll just tidy it up a little bit, and you can see. So I'm onto my third page there for a 12-mark question. So as I said in the lesson, you really ought to be writing for pretty much the whole of the exam, and if you can think of one sensible sentence, half a mark, then you should be getting close to full marks. Okay, so I'm going to stop the tape now because it's up to 22 minutes. So then I'll continue on the next slice of video.